Kayle, Chair. Meeting called to order at 2:06. Roll call.
Chair Kayle,
Here.
Vice Chair Schultz. Present. Member Toussaint. Member Christensen. Member Bonaventura.
Present.
Member Jackson Renter.
Present.
Member Kress. Excuse, Member Iturralde. Here. Member Tramp.
Here.
Member Helgeline.
Present.
Member Ferre.
Here.
Member Stonebarger.
Here.
And Member Ramirez.
Present.
Thank you.
We're in compliance with open meeting law.
Yes, we are.
Okay. Before we go into board business, we need to do the 2 and 3, right? Okay. Public comment. Comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters on the agenda for action. If you wish to be heard, come forward and give your name for the record. The amount of discussion, as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed, may be limited. Do we have any public comment? Nope. For possible action to approve the final minutes, the regular meeting of June 4th, 11th, and 18th, 2019? Didn't we already do this? Yeah, we did that last time, okay. Do I have the wrong, oh my gosh. Hold on just a second, I'm sorry, I might have the last week's meeting. Okay, sorry, okay, I got you now. Okay, for presentations on Neighborhood Partner Fund Board Grant Program applications submitted by the Glen Estate Neighborhood Association, Mariposa Community Association, McNeil Estates Neighborhood Association, Palomino Gardens HOA, Spanish Oaks HOA, and Torrey Pines Estates HOA today. And
Okay.
Sorry, Chair, I think Alma has an announcement with regard to one of those.
Mariposa Community Association are going to be stricken. They had to withdraw as the project was already completed. So we have to strike that one for the record.
Kayle, Chair, I'd like to call for a vote to strike Mariposa from the agenda.
Member Bonaventura, motion to strike Mariposa from the agenda.
Member Stonebarger, second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried, unanimous. Before we get started today, I just had a couple things that I'd like to, since we started off last week and it's so different from years before, and I wasn't expecting to be the chair, but I'm very grateful to be, and thank you. First, if I would just like to have everybody go around and just introduce. I know that most of us know each other and we've been on here before, but there are some new ones, and just also to know where everybody is, it would help. So just state your name and where you're from and so forth. That would be great. And we'll just start up here with Tanya and go down this way, and then we'll go down on the floor.
Hi, Tanya Jackson Renter, Councilman Queer's Office, Fabulous Ward 5.
Sally Christensen with Ward 4, with almost Mayor Pro Tem Stavros Anthony.
I'm next? Yes. Greg Toussaint, Mayor's appointee.
Larry Schultz, Ward 6 appointee, been sitting on this board since 2015, and also sit on the City Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission as the vice chair.
Just a reminder, too, to turn off your mic when you're not speaking. It helps with the sound and everything. Kayle, Ward 4 representative, and this is my third year on the board, and I just love NPF. I think it's fabulous.
Chance Bonaventura, Ward 6 representative for Councilwoman Fiore.
Susie Farray, Ward 3. I also work for Congresswoman Dina Titus's office, and I live in Crestwood. So I did want to make an extension that I'm going to be abstaining from voting for Crestwood Neighborhood Association.
This is Idalina. I'm with Councilwoman Olivia Diaz's office and representing Ward 3.
Brianna Ramirez, Ward 2, Councilwoman Siemens' office.
Matthew Tramp, I was appointed in Ward 1 by Councilman Knutson. I also sit on the Attendance Zone Advisory Commission for the Clark County School District, too.
Elizabeth Helgeling, member from Ward 2, Councilwoman Victoria Seaman.
Doreen Stonebarger, representative for Ward 1, Councilman Knutson, and this is my first year on this board.
Kayle, Chair. Welcome. Welcome, everybody, and thank you. Just a couple little things that, because it's a little bit different and seeing everybody and so forth, when I'm calling for a board question after the presentations, I'm going to ask that you kind of raise your hand a little bit, and I'll try and keep a good eye and just kind of look at your whatever to go so that we have a little bit of control, and just also that we only have 5 minutes for questions, so just kind of try and keep an eye on that so that anybody that wants to speak will have the opportunity, and it won't always happen, but just to kind of help that out. And then just that today's agenda is for the applications presentations only. We'll be doing the deliberations on July 20th. It's kind of hard sometimes. It's easy to cross them over, but to just try and keep a discussion and keep for the July 20th meeting, that would be awesome. And then just the state your name. I know we had a little bit of difficulty with that last week, but I know everybody's doing well today, and we'll keep doing that. So just, state your name prior to speaking each time, and if you forget, I will just buzz in and say, please state your name for the record. And just again, that the lights, the recording lights, when your light is on, your mic's on, so when you stop speaking, just to turn it off for, so that it does make a difference in the sound in the room, plus also anything that's said or whatever will be heard, so. And then just the last reminder is just that that for board discussion on the applicants will be on July 20th, and we shouldn't be discussing it between ourselves or with any of the applicants, so in any manner. So I think that's it. Oh, one more thing. I'm sorry. Just one quick thing, Greg. Just Alma had reminded that for any of the PowerPoint presentations or any other presentations that they submit on video or disc or what have you, will be available on the city link for the meeting notes and so forth, correct?
Almost Strata. Yes, just look up under meetings and agendas, and you should find the PowerPoint. You'll find the whole meeting on there and the PowerPoints attached to them. So for anyone that I know last week was brought up that you wanted to see the full PowerPoint, you will be able to see it on there. Okay?
And I didn't turn off my mic.
Madam Chair?
Thank you. Yes.
You said that each speaker had 5 minutes. Is it not 4? 2 to speak and 2 minutes for questions?
State your name and then, please.
Greg Toussaint. Sorry.
I'm sorry, the presentation, they have 5 minutes for their presentation and 5 minutes for questions.
thought.
Is
okay.
that,
Okay.
Larry
From 2 to
Schultz, Ward
2:20.
6, that's what we gave everybody last week. To depart from that at this time would then be an unfair situation to these applicants today. So I suggest we just be consistent with what we did last week.
Kayle Kayle, Chair. Greg, do you have something different that I'm not aware of, or we're not?
No, it says from 2 to 2:20. That's 10 minutes, right? Okay. Stand corrected. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments before we get started? Okay, I think we're ready.
Here, to turn it on. There, it's ready for you. Okay.
Kayle Kayle, Chair. I would like to welcome you. This is Glen Neighborhood Association. And just wanted to let you know that you have 5 minutes for your presentation. And then after that, there will be 5 minutes for board questions. Each time, if you would just start, before you start, just introduce yourself. And then during questions, anytime that you respond, if you would state your name again before speaking for the record so that we can keep track of who on the recording who's speaking. Okay?
Right. Okay.
And you're on.
So how does this one work? Oh, advanced slide. Okay. All right. Hi there. My name's Shelley Walters, and I'm with the Glen Estates Neighborhood Association. We're a neighborhood of 182 homes, and we're located at the southeast corner of Rancho and Oki. Our neighborhood project is the Glen Estates Neighborhood Cleanup and then Celebration. With the help of Neighborhood Partners Fund, our previous neighborhood projects have been successful. In 2013, we did a monument sign, designed and implemented a monument sign for our neighborhood. In 2016, we did the wall painting of our community along Rancho. And then in 2018, we had a Halloween-themed block party. This time, we're going to do a neighborhood cleanup and a block party. Sorry. The neighborhood seems to be pleased with this decision. For both projects, we're going to adhere to all COVID-19 CDC guidelines and Nevada statutes and directives. We understand that it may not be possible to do one or more of our projects if the guidelines can't be adhered to, or if this type of project is no longer allowed. So both of these projects benefit the community in so many ways. Our first project will beautify our neighborhood as well as making it a safer place to live. And then our block party, of course, is a great way to meet neighbors. This slide was our last block party that we had in 2018. And as you can see, it was a really good turnout and a lot of people got to know each other there. For the cleanup, for the neighborhood cleanup, we're going to start with a community yard sale. And then we're going to have local charities after the community yard sale pick up our items. that we're not going to use any longer or that we want to discard. We're going to try to repurpose, reuse, and donate everything prior to dumping anything in dumpsters. Then we would rent 5 dumpsters from Republic Services at a cost of $2,260 and put them on various streets for the neighbors to dump their items in, their unwanted items. Then we're also going to give the neighbors a chance to do a yard cleanup during this time, like a, tree trimming, any extra landscaping and things like that, and encourage them to use the dumpsters for those trimmings. Some of our local gardeners in our neighborhood, one that lives in the neighborhood and another that works a lot in the neighborhood, have offered up to $300 in discounts for anybody that wants to have work done. And I'm sure we could get some more of our gardeners to do the same if we found it necessary. So a lot of the neighbors have said they'll volunteer to help on the cleanup as well for those who can't do it all themselves or need help carrying things to the dumpster and things like that. The second part of our project is a block party. So we're planning to have a block party a few weeks after for a much needed celebration. The slides you see here are from our last block party, and it's going to be very similar. We're going to have a food truck, a DJ, we're going to rent chairs and tables, we're going to have a hand washing station and portable restroom as well. And that would be a total cost of $2,500. And the food truck will be offering us $1,000 off of our bill. And then our DJ is a neighbor. He lives in the neighborhood and he has a mobile DJ business, and he's going to be providing the mobile DJ service at a 1/2 price cost. So he's giving $300 off, and he's charging $300 for the mobile DJ for the whole day. So we're also going to have, to raise money for our association, we're going to have a raffle to raise money during the block party, and that's just going to be an extra added thing for us to raise additional funds, because we are not an HOA, we're a volunteer neighborhood association. So I believe both projects will bring us all outdoors. They'll get us moving around, give us something to look forward to, especially with, the trying times, everything that's been going on, that kind of thing. So I would hope you would approve our application for $4,800. And thank you from the Glen Estates Neighborhood Association.
Gail Kayle, Chair, thank you. Okay, we'd like to open it up to questions from the board.
Hi, Member Stonebarger. Shelley, sorry if I missed this. Would the original sales, would that benefit the neighborhood association or the individual homes?
The community yard sale? Okay, well, we've done.
Please state your name for the record.
Oh, Shelley Walters, Glen Estates Association. We've done community yard sales before, and pretty much the way we do it is everybody puts their own items out. They make their own money. I usually pay for the supplies as far as the signs and that type of things. But the beauty of our community yard sales is, volunteers go and put the signs up. People don't have to do that. So it's really kind of neat. But yes, they would keep their own money for it.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, I forgot one thing. I'm sorry. Do I have to state my name again? Shelley Walters, Glen Estates. We do, when we do our community yard sales, everybody pays $5 for the supplies for the signs and whatnot. And then if we have any extra, we give it to the association. But it's, usually like $25 or $30. It's not like a big thing. So, yeah, we do that.
Larry Schultz, Ward 6. Hi, Shelley, good to see you again.
Hi, good to see you. How you doing?
So I have a question about the project budget worksheet, and maybe this is just a oversight or something that needs to be updated, or maybe I missed the way I read it. But on line 2C, the amount shown for donations, donated items, professional service, and in kind or cash is $1,500. But then when I tally up the cash in kind from your detailed submission, the detailed submission shows $2,200, which would be a more favorable presentation of your project. So is it $2,200 or is it $1,500? The detail supports 22.
Okay, I don't have any of it with me, I'm sorry. So the amount, you're referring to the amount of donations?
It's cash and in kind, so that's, you're donating $300, the Glen Heather Association is $300, the Rockin' Party is $300, David Jonathan, I don't know who David Jonathan is, he's $300, and Quality Food is a $1,000 discount, so that tallies up to $2,200. And your sheet says $1,500.
Okay, then that's an error.
So what I'd like to request, again, this is Larry Schultz, Ward 6, Vice Chair. I'd like to request that for our records, so that we have records that match your accurate submission, that you update your budget project worksheet and submit it to staff, so we have a current worksheet for the record, which is more favorable to your submission than the one you submitted.
Right.
So can you do that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Gail Kayle, Chair. Any other?
Member Bonaventura, so for the dumpsters and the cleanup, is it just going to be their yards and those items, their personal items, or are you planning on doing the common areas and the outside of the neighborhood and things like that?
We don't really have common areas.
Please state your name.
Oh, Shelley Walters, Glen Heather Estates. We don't really have that much common areas that would be part of the cleanup. Typically, the city of Las Vegas takes care of all of our common areas that are in our neighborhood.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Gail Kayle, Chair. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you very much, and good luck.
Thank you.
Larry Schultz, Ward 6. So I noticed for the staff and the clerk that during the first presentation, these wonderful clocks up above, which are very helpful to us, was not turned on. Will they be turned on for the future presentations? Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Ready for the next group?
Gail Kayle, Chair. Our next group is McNeil Estates Neighborhood Association. Kayle, Chair. I'd like to welcome you here today. And before you get started, you'll have 5 minutes for your presentation, and after that, it'll be opened up to 5 minutes of questioning from the board. It's a little bit different this year if you've been here in the past, and we're kind of spread out in learning, so we're just going to kind of be raising our hands to try to give you a chance to know who's speaking.
Okay, thank you.
But before you get started, if you would introduce yourself, and also make sure that when it's questioning time and you are answering a question, that you state your name before you speak as well for the record, so that we can keep track of it. And I think that's it. So you are on.
Well, thank you, Neighborhood Partners Fund members. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. I'm Laura Swain. I'm president of the McNeil Estates Neighborhood Association. I did bring a PowerPoint along, of course I need my glasses now, sorry. In the application, it asked us to talk a little bit about our neighborhood. It was established in 1957. It was considered on the outskirts of town. Anybody that's lived here very long in Las Vegas should be familiar with McNeil. As a little girl, my parents used to drive through the neighborhood hoping to live in there one day, so I'm thrilled to be able to be there myself now. We are between Oakey and Charleston, Rancho and Cashman. We have a very, very diverse neighborhood. What's really fascinating about our neighborhood is the multi-generational families that exist in the neighborhood. We have a large group of new families that have been coming in with young children, so that's very exciting. We have the multi-generational, we have LGBTQ families, so we are very, very diverse. And we have received grant funds from you all for the last several years running. So the block party is definitely an all-hands-on-deck operation for all of us. We actually start on Saturday setting up. We bring out equipment, we hang our banner, we have turf that we store in one of our neighbors' backyards, and we do all that big stuff set up on Saturdays. On the day of, we usually have, and one of the reasons why we're asking for funds is for RSVP party rentals. For the last several years, they've been providing tables so that we can accommodate the large group that we have every year, which is estimated at about 500 people coming to the block party. We do outreach throughout the neighborhood and the adjacent areas to help us create some cohesive communication. We do have a lot of things that impact our neighborhood that we share in common, so that definitely is helpful. The SGI Buddhist Center, I pointed out this historical issue. It was well before I was living in the community. But the Buddhist Center created some controversy when it first came into the neighborhood. They were worried about parking. It was, a church-like environment. And they became really involved with our block party, and they are so beloved in our neighborhood now, and their center has truly been a benefit to our neighborhood. And I point this out as a great example of what the block party does for relationship building in our community. And it is a catalyst for other activities. I didn't want to go on too long with the presentation. I should have probably included some pictures, but during the COVID-19 crisis, we've had neighbors put car tours together. A bunch of people came together with antique vehicles, and just spur of the moment. And it was amazing, the outpouring, and people got to get outside, and it was just fun to see people that actually I've never seen before in the neighborhood. The outreach to our elder community, all of these things that we do, including we had a wine walk last year. We weren't able to have it this year, maybe later. But those things really are born out of this block party because of the neighborhood connectivity that we were able to create. Our ask is $2,882.79, and on the PowerPoint presentation you can see a breakdown of what those funds would be used for. And they are specialty items that helps us accommodate the larger crowds that we have. It started off being picnic baskets and people rolling garbage cans to the block party, but it has evolved, and it requires a little bit more effort for us to put on such a large event. So anyway, on behalf of the residents of neighborhood McNeil Estates Neighborhood Association, I thank you very much for your time and your consideration.
Gail Kayle, Chair. I'd like to now open it up for questions from the board. No questions?
How are
You did a
you?
great job.
Oh my goodness, it's great to see you.
Okay, well,
done?
you don't, yeah, you're good. So.
No questions.
I know, that means, yeah. Thank you very much, and good luck.
Thank you very much, thank you. Take care, and congratulations. Okay, I guess Palomino's not here yet. but-
State your name.
I'm sorry. I knew I'd blow it somehow. Estrada. Palomino's not here right now, but Spanish Oaks is here. Would you like to ask Spanish Oaks to come up? Okay, thank you. I know, right? What's your name? We should put little signs up, state your name. No one looks at me.
Oh, cool, thank you. How close do I have to get to the mic?
Gail Kayle, Chair. We'd like to welcome you here today. You will have 5 minutes for your presentation,
Okay.
and then we'll open it up for 5 minutes of questions from the board. If you would introduce yourself and before you start, and then anytime when you're being asked a question, when you're responding, before you speak, to restate your name for the record so that it's on record and we can identify. That would be great.
Okay.
And I think that's it, so you can go ahead and start. And, on your mic, yeah, when you're not using it, it'll be red when it's on. When you're not using it, you can punch it off, and then that way the sound and stuff, that would be great.
So it's off right now.
It's on right now. Anytime you see the red light, it's on.
Got it. I was hearing like stop, no.
That's
red.
okay.
My brain works, and I'm smiling. I'm really smiling. It's nice to be here
Can see
today.
it in your eyes.
My name is Julie Schoolmeister. I go by Jules, so it might say Jules on the application. I'm from Spanish Oaks, and if anyone was on the committee last year, this might look familiar, and it looks familiar because it worked. So what we want to talk about today is our Don't Stop Building community project. Last year, we had an application that went in as our community building project, and because we had such a good season, I would say, with our social events and our activities, we wanted to put in a similar application this year. So the issue is that we can always be better. Last year, we were kind of in a slump, and it was like people weren't showing up to events, people weren't talking to their neighbors, people weren't meeting their neighbors, and we were like, well, we live in this awesome little community within a community. Why is that? So we worked on building community and building social events and providing people opportunities so that they could make connections. So we want to continue to build community through events and better communications with residents and homeowners who are in Spanish Oaks. And our success over the past year would not 100% have been possible without the Neighborhood Partners Fund grant that we got last year. So we want to say thank you for that. And we want to keep this momentum going, even in this super fun COVID world, as I fog up my mask and adjust my mask. I might actually take these off for a second. We want to maintain momentum even in the COVID world. So the ongoing solution is that we need to be consistent with our monthly newsletter that we provide both in a printed form and hand deliver to residents, and we also provide in an email form. And we want to grow the Halloween Spooktacular Party to promote more family-friendly events. And we want to use the events as an opportunity for people to have opportunities for volunteering and to serve on HOA committees. And then on that slide, you'll notice this is a example of the newsletter that we had this month. The project goals, pretty simple. Motivate neighbors to make connections, better communication with residents and homeowners, more socially distanced community events and family-friendly events. And we've already started putting that into play. The end of June, we had a popsicle night, so we brought in a vendor. We had very strong, these are the lines marked out. This is how you wait in line. Here's the hand sanitizer, here's the mask. So we know that we can do these types of things, and we had a great turnout on that. So we want to keep building on that. Also help residents and homeowners get involved. Bridge generational gaps. We have an interesting mix. Probably about half of the folks who live in our community are seniors. So we have a lot of people with a lot of experience and knowledge and history of our community, but we're starting to get some younger families moving in. And then also to grow Spanish Oak's reputation as a great place to live. So our funding request, it's basically 3 parts. This is real similar to last year. And it's broken down in the application. The majority of it is newsletter printing costs. We do a full color newsletter. It's anywhere from 4 to 6 pages every month. We did, at the request of the committee last year, added an option where we sell advertisements. And we did raise about $2,000 in advertisement sales for the newsletter. So that was great, because then we had money banked up that we could use when our funding request, or when our funding from the Partners Fund ran out. Then also about $1,000 of that would be funding for the Halloween Spooktacular. We had 81 people attend that last October, which was pretty cool for us. It was a first-time event, and people were like, is this gonna work? Is this not gonna work? And it was really fun. And we had people come out who hadn't been to previous events before, so we knew we were hitting on a new type of audience and providing a good activity for our folks. And then also, the remaining balance of the $5,000 ask would be used for food and supplies with quarterly breakfasts and our Vintage Vegas History Night. We're really lucky that one of our residents is a librarian at UNLV and has access to a lot of really cool history materials about Las Vegas. So she put together a presentation, and we actually had 94 people who attended that night. So that was one of our top attended events. And it was just something that, again, we came up with. What are things that we can do to bridge generation gaps in different types of activities instead of just happy hours and breakfasts and things like that. This is the 3rd year that we've applied for this funding. We've successfully completed all of our grant requirements in both the 2018-19 and 19-20 cycles. You can ask Alma, we do a good job of doing reporting, making sure that's done on time. And we've really grown our volunteer donation from the 1st to the 2nd year. And I think it was a combination of better timekeeping and also, I'm not, interesting I said timekeeping when that happened. So it's better timekeeping, and it's more people donating their time. The last slide is questions, so I'll pitch it to you all.
Thank you. I'd like to open up for board questions.
I just have a comment.
Good afternoon, Larry Schultz, Ward 6 Vice Chair. So in looking at your project budget worksheet, there's an entry on there of $8,000 on line item 2C, which appears to be, appears to be represented as the community's in-kind or cash contribution. However, when I read the detail, and if my memory serves me well, and if not, please correct me, I recall seeing something that said none of that $8,000 would be applied to this event. Was I mistaken?
As far as, Julie Schoolmeister, for the record, as far as the spectacular event or
The 8,000
generally?
is the 8,000 is the Spanish Oaks Community Event Budget. It's identified as the community event
It's a social
budget.
event committee, yep.
But there was a discussion that this was being used for other events, not this event. Was I mistaken?
So the $8,000 is what the board earmarks for the social committee.
I'm
So
sorry,
that
I couldn't hear that. What did you say?
The $8,000 is what the board earmarks for the social committee.
Right.
So that gets used for anything from the garage sale, happy hours, the holiday party. There's things happening every month.
So can you be more explicit? What portion of the $8,000 will be used for this specific event?
I wouldn't be able to say that the board could, specifically. I think if I went and asked them, I could get the spooktacular part funded.
Okay, so just in conclusion, again, Larry Schultz, Ward 6 Vice Chair, I think that for this board, because of the nature of these documents, we would need to know in an explicit and clear fashion what portion of the social committee budget would be dedicated and earmarked for this specific event so that we could then know what the community contribution is. Because right now, it's vague, and if anything, your submission clearly states more than it infers that it will not be used for this event. So I think that's something that you do need to correct and resubmit and be more explicit on. Thank you.
Gayle Kayle, Chair. I did have a question on the newsletter. Do you currently have an opt-out option for homeowners so that you don't have to incur as much, and how effective is that?
Julie Schoolmeister, for the record, we have that option listed in the newsletter. I've had 10 people take me up on it so far. There's 385 homes in the community. I think we can try to keep pushing that because ultimately I'd appreciate it. Again, therethere's a generational issue there. More of our older community members prefer to have the hand copy.
Gayle Kayle, just to follow up, it's just an option to keep that cost down because that is a big cost in here. And one more thing on the newsletter too, that's not part of the operation or the normal budget of the association. The newsletter is not in that.
What would happen, Julie Schoolmeister, what would happen is it would come out of the social committee where we could. I would anticipate that if that were the case, we'd have to go to black and white printing just to keep costs down.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions? All right, great. Thank you very much and good luck.
Thank you.
Gayle Kayle, do we know if Palomino is here yet? They are, okay. Gayle Kayle, again, we're scheduled for a break, but I don't know that we need one today, if everybody else feels that way, or do you want to take a break after this, or we're good? Everybody looks like we're good, okay. So Palomino is next?
I have a question. Alma Strada with Office of Community Services. I have a question. What is it that you want from Palomino to correct? Can you give me a specific, Larry?
I'm sorry, I was writing.
I just need to know what specific correction do you want from Palomino?
The project budget, okay. Larry Schultz, Ward 6 Vice Chair. The project budget worksheet shows the amount of $8,000 in line 2C. However, when the applicant was asked what portion of that they would devote to this project, she said she couldn't say, and to place that amount in the sheet is misleading and incorrect, and they really need to make a commitment one way or the other. Either the amount is zero, or it's some amount of the 8,000 that they will then spend for the project.
Okay, Alma Strada with Office of Community Services. Okay, so you want her to correct the budget, the project budget sheet. Is that correct?
Well, she just needs to correct item 2C.
Okay.
Because right now,
The donation part of it?
she's stating she can't say
Thank
what
you.
she's going to spend, and that's what they
All
said
right.
in the submission, too.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, red light off.
Gayle Kayle, Chair. Welcome, Palomino Gardens HOA. And it's a little hard to tell. Oh, she set up.
Which microphone? This one? Oh, okay, perfect. Great.
I just, if you would, before you start your presentation, have you, I'm speaking, I know it's hard to see, so we're all up here, and if we speak, we're trying to kind of raise our hand a little bit so to help identify who's speaking. State your name, introduce yourself, and there's 5 minutes for the presentation part, and then after the 5 minutes, then it'll be opened up to 5 minutes for the board to ask any questions to you. As I think Alma just told you, the mic, when the red light is on, it's on, so you can speak. When you're not speaking, you can touch the button and it'll turn it off. That way the sound for the rest of the room. Then when it's open to questioning, anytime you're responding to a question or you're speaking again, if you could please state your name again for the record, so that, because we can't see everybody, and just for the record, and if not, I'll remind you, but with that. And with that, you're on.
Absolutely, thank you. Good afternoon, my name is Pui Premsrut, P-U-O-Y, last name Premsrut, P-R-E-M-S-R-I-R-U-T. I live at 849 Trotter Circle, and I'm delivering the presentation on behalf of Palomino Gardens Homeowners Association. We've prepared a short PowerPoint guide to highlight what we believe are the important aspects of our application. The beginning is just a summary of what we included in our PowerPoint. Palomino Gardens were a small neighborhood constructed predominantly in 1980s. We're comprised of 15 families. We're located right at the heart of Rancho and Charleston. Access is off of Palomino. Our cul-de-sac is tucked away behind Smith's. Previously, we've applied for NPF grants, and we were fortunate to be awarded twice. The first foray yielded us the ability to repave our entire street. Because we're a private cul-de-sac, we're essentially our own public works department, so the grant enabled us to do that. The second grant we received enabled us to enhance visibility in our cul-de-sac. Again, we're privately maintained, so we used to rely on our neighborhood to just turn on our front lights in order to have visibility. But thanks to you, we now have light poles. So these are just some pictures of what we've done with previous grant money. These are the light poles. So we're back, and we're back actually for an even more dire need than ever before. We seek an enhanced security system. Unfortunately, in recent times, we've experienced heightened criminal activity in our general vicinity. We also have trespassers discovered in our common areas. We've had vehicle break-ins, and unfortunately, an instance reported where a suspect was trying to evade Metro and hopped over the wall and hiding in a neighbor's backyard. So although we're a close-knit, vigilant, and well-communicated community, we can't have our eyes out all the time. So our desired project seeks to install fixed and pinhole cameras outside our guardhouse and to enable recordation of vehicles, license plates, and the drivers so that we can not only see what's going on, but have the ability to investigate 30 days behind that. And this is our guard gate. So the benefits for this project is really to address our needs. Our neighborhood has young children, including seniors with some compromised health issues. Our zip code, unfortunately, is sandwiched between two very high crime areas and is above the national average, and also boasts the second highest crime indexing in Las Vegas. The homeless population has migrated towards us, and again, trespassers have been discovered considerably more this past year. So we wanted to show you that while we're a small community, we all roll up our sleeves and participate. This year, we did maintain our board composition and formed a separate subcommittee just to provide this application and be here before you, including myself, a full-time worker, non-board member to take the laboring oar. So we wanted to show you that we work together and we're accountable. Sorry, it's hard for me to breathe. So we've outlined 2 bid solicitations. We chose reputable contractors to provide bids. The First Security has a pre-existing relationship with some of the homeowners, providing private security for their residents. And then ADT, which has a very well-known reputation in Las Vegas. So there are two different bids. One's obviously more detailed than another in terms of equipment, and depending on the amount of the grant, I think will dictate what we're able to afford. So at this time, we just wanted to thank you for your time and everything you've done for our community, and I'm available for any questions with the understanding I'm short-sighted, so I can't see that well without my glasses.
Thank you very much. Open it to board questions.
Member Bonaventura, so will these be new cameras, or do you already have cameras that they choice maintain currently?
We don't have any cameras. We have a sign that says we do, just as a
Please state your name for the record.
Oh, I'm sorry,
That's
Pui
okay.
Premstrat on behalf of Palomino Gardens. As stated, we currently do not have any cameras. We have a sign that represents we do for deterrency, but I don't think that's much of a deterrent right now.
Member Bonaventura, one follow-up question. So what type of volunteer efforts and things are you doing for this camera project? Or are you substituting another type of event or something to volunteer or donate for this project?
Well, I think we do have special assessments among our community members for purposes of financing, but as far as volunteers, we've each rolled up our sleeves for this project. I think two of the members, Art Nathan and Shell Yarbrough, will be meeting with the two bid providers for the installation, and I believe the timeline to reconcile with your process, we would be able to install this within the next 8 months. In terms of volunteerism, we have routine meetings at a minimum quarterly among the entire group annually. We have a very, very active email chain, which I think everyone is having their eyes and ears out to see what's going on in our community at all times.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Greg Toussaint, member. I have just a simple question. Is yours a gated community or not?
Pui Premser on behalf of Palomino Gardens. We have an entrance gate, and when you come in, it's one cul-de-sac where you drive around. It's two ways, both ways, but it's one ingress, egress into the community. So we believe that these cameras would be crucial for us to not only have the actual representative deterrent that we say is there, but also for us to investigate things that have gone on in our community. And I think this would be a helpful tool for law enforcement, particularly that Palomino side. There's a lot of traffic coming up, including homeless.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, and thank you for your presentation. Larry Schultz, Ward 6 Vice Chair. So I have just 3 short questions. I'll start with the first one. So your cash need, it looks like you're contributing quite a bit of cash, but your need is $5,100 if the board awarded you the $5,000 requested, yet your cash contribution is only $4,500. How would you make up the shortfall of the $611?
I think, unfortunately, I don't run the finances. Pui Premser on behalf of Palomino Gardens. I don't oversee the financial element, but we do have reserves, and I think there's some floating dollars in there to meet those deltas in the event that there's a equipment selection that might be higher or lower.
Okay, so just for our records and so that you have a full submission, you should update that then so that the cash match instead of $4,500 is $5,111. Now, my next question is looking at again, Larry Schultz, Ward 6 Vice Chair, looking at the ADT proposal. I know you have 2 proposals, one from First Alert, one from ADT, but in reading those proposals, they look like they're not quite apples and apples. The ADT proposal, for instance, stated that they were proposing 8 dome cameras for a lower amount, whereas you only needed 5 dome cameras. Now, plus the pinhole camera, whereas the First Alert clearly includes, well, it looks like that has 4 cameras plus the pinhole. So there's a difference in the 2 proposals, And, certainly if your team has made a decision that you're better off with the first alert, which is the impression I get in reading your submission, is that correct?
That is, Pui Premiser at Palomino, that is correct, sir.
Okay. It just seems like, just for the record, you're not comparing apples and apples, okay? But other than that, I just wanted you to be aware of that. I think your team may already be aware of it, because it's a different scope in the ADT proposal than what the first alert proposal is. Let's see here. Your video feed. So when these cameras are active, will this video feed be, Larry Schultz, Ward 6, Vice Chair, will the video feed solely be retained at the local DVR in the guard shack, or will there be a remote access to the video feed?
Pui Premiser at Palomino Gardens. It will be a remote location. There's a determination to be made whether it stays inside the shack itself or it's going to be hardwired to a different location. The storage time will be 30 days, and it will be accessed only by our executive officers.
But through getting accessing the DVR, or can you go through the internet and get it remotely from a cloud application?
So I don't want to answer incorrectly. I believe Pui Premiser at Palomino Gardens, I believe you have to physically access it. Okay. And then to circle back on the two apples and oranges, part of me recollects that these might have been driven by the actual contract service provider who came out and may have made some recommendations. Because I can tell you that while we're all very vigilant in what we want to do, none of us are experts in the surveillance business, including myself, sir.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you.
Gail Kayle, I know we ran out of time, but I know that Member Toussaint had a question, so I would like to have him be able to do that. Did you? You didn't? Oh, I thought you did. Okay. Well, sorry about that. Okay. Thank you very much, and good luck.
Thank you very much.
Gail Kayle, our last presentation will be Torrey Pines Estates HOA.
Alma Estrada with Office of Community Services. Sad to say that Torrey Pines will not be here today. They were unable to make it. I don't know if you want to see if I can put them in for the 20th to present with after Moneta Lane. You let me know.
Gail Kayle, Chair. What do you know why they weren't able? I mean, what they did? They just called and said
they couldn't get the time off.
Okay.
That's all I know.
Well, we've done it for one, so I guess I would get the board's feedback. Is everybody okay with them being added to July 20th?
Member Bonaventura, so what was the reasoning for the first one that we moved? They
The
just couldn't
first one,
come?
medical.
Medical. If we have time, I would not mind hearing them at the next meeting.
I don't know for sure if they can still make it on the 20th, but if I can, will you be willing to hear them out?
Okay, I believe, Greg, did you make a motion? Oh, Gail Kayle, Chair. Your mic. Please. It's still not on. Oh, there you go.
I got it, okay. I move that we move this applicant to the 20th? Greg Toussaint.
Member Bonaventura, second.
Gail Kayle, moved in second. All in favor? Oh, sorry, discussion.
Larry Schultz, Ward 6, Vice Chair. So I'm fine with the motion to move it to the 20th, but in looking at the schedule and based on past experience, the discussion time on the 20th amongst the board members to formulate the awards and to address the discrepancies and all that is usually a considerable amount of time, and I just want to make sure that the time that's budgeted is sufficient for 2 presentations plus the board deliberation. What time does the meeting on the 20th start?
The Alma Estrada with Office of Community Services, the meeting starts from 2 to 5.
2.
Is the time that I set up for you guys.
I just, again, want to make sure everybody understands that there's probably a good likelihood that this may go beyond 5 o'clock.
Alma Estrada with Office of Community Services, so you guys will start at 2. You'll talk for 10 minutes about business, any business, and then the first group will start at 2:10, and then the next one 2:20. So you let me know what you think.
Gail Kayle, Chair. Any further discussion? Okay. All in favor? Call.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Gail Kayle, Chair. So we are now at citizens' participation on our agenda. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of the board. No subject may be acted upon by the board unless that subject is on the agenda and is scheduled for action. If you wish to be heard, come forward and give your name for the record. The amount of discussion on any single subject, as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed, may be limited. Any public discussion? See anybody? Okay. Adjournment at 3:08. See you all on the 20th. Thank you very much.